Long before the village had a name, there was a narrow ravine that divided it in two. In spring, a small stream ran through it. In summer, it was dry and harmless. But when the rains came, the ravine filled quickly, and the path between the two sides disappeared. People would stand on opposite edges, waving helplessly, waiting for the water to fall. For many years, they said the same thing. One day, someone should build a bridge, and then they went home. Among them lived a young carpenter named Elias. He was not known for great skill or bold speech. His hands were steady, but his voice was quiet. When others argued about plans and costs, he listened and lowered his eyes. One autumn, after a heavy rain, an old woman slipped while trying to cross the muddy edge of the ravine. She was not badly hurt, but she sat on the ground longer than she should have, staring at the rushing water. Elias saw it happen. That night, while the village slept, he walked to the ravine with a single wooden plank on his shoulder. He laid it across the narrowest part. It was not much, just a thin piece of wood resting between two stones. It bent slightly under weight, but the next morning, when the water had thinned to a stream, children crossed it carefully, arms stretched out for balance. Some laughed. "It will not last," they said. "It is too small." Elias nodded. He knew it was. The following evening, he returned with another plank, then another. He worked slowly, fitting each piece with care. He used old nails he had saved from broken carts. He cut beams from fallen branches rather than living trees. Weeks passed. The bridge was uneven, creaked when stepped on. It had no beauty that would draw admiration, but it held. Some villagers offered advice. Few offered help. "You should make it wider. You should raise it higher. You should have waited until you had better wood." Elias listened and continued. Winter came early that year. Frost covered the ground, and the ravine grew quiet. The bridge stood untouched beneath a pale sky. Then, one night, the snow began, fell heavily for 3 days. When it finally stopped, the village awoke to silence and white fields. The path around the ravine had vanished beneath deep snow. The only clear crossing was the bridge. People stepped onto it cautiously at first. The wood was cold but firm. One by one, they crossed to reach family, food, and warmth on the other side. The bridge did not shine. It did not impress, but it connected. Days later, as the snow began to melt, a sound echoed through the valley, a distant cracking. The frozen ground shifted. Water rushed suddenly through the ravine, faster than in past years, carrying ice and broken branches. The bridge trembled. Elias stood nearby, his breath visible in the cold air. He did not run. He placed his hands against the railing he had added only days before and waited. The water struck the supports. Ice pressed against the beams. The villagers watched from both sides, fearing the worst. A loud snap rang out. One of the outer planks broke loose and vanished downstream. But the main beams held, because Elias had built the foundation deeper than anyone noticed. Beneath the snow, beneath the visible wood, he had placed thick support posts driven into the earth. He had done it quietly, long before the storm. The water rose, then slowly began to fall. When the ravine returned to its usual size, the bridge remained scarred, missing a few boards but standing. In the days that followed, no one laughed at its uneven shape. No one questioned its worth. They began to bring their own planks, not because Elias asked, but because they had crossed it. And on a quiet morning, as the sun touched the frosted beams, the young carpenter added one more piece of wood to the railing, his hands steady as ever. He had never built it for praise, only so no one would have to wait on opposite sides again.